Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this hearing of the Budget and Finance Committee for Monday, October 15th, 2018. I'm Paul Krikorian, Chair of the committee. I'm joined by my colleague, Councilmember Bob Blumenfield. Mr. Koretz will be joining us in a little bit, but he had a commitment that's going to keep him from getting here for about another 15 minutes or so. So for those of you who are here regarding the lien items on item number 6. I just wanted to walk you through what happens with that before we begin. We'll be taking up some other budget and finance matters before we get to that matter, and two of them will involve our going into closed session. So what I am going to ask Charles to do. Charles, if you could raise your hand just for a minute. So Charles represents the Department of Building and Safety, and so I'm going to ask, when we're in closed session, if you could go to the room next door, and then anybody who would like to talk with Charles about your case, about your lien matter, explain the situation to him, maybe get Building and Safety to propose changes in their recommendations if that's appropriate. This is a great time for you to do that before he comes up to make his presentation. Okay, so he'll just be setting up shop in the other room, and you'll be able to come and visit with him and explain the situation to him and see if any other course of action is necessary. When we come back out from closed session, we'll be coming back in here and we'll take up our open session matters, including the liens. And at that time, I'll ask the department whether they have any suggested changes to the recommendations that are here. Okay? I'll get into a little bit more detail when we get into that matter, but that's the way I'd like to proceed with this. So that you'll have time to speak with him before the matter comes up. So Officer Duarte can show you where the other room is, how to get there, and that's what we'll do. So I'm going to go ahead then and begin our closed. Oh no, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take public comment on all agenda items at this time. So this is, if you're here on a lien, you can head out now. We won't be bringing your matter up for a little bit. So that brings me to my multi-speaker, multi-agenda item speaker list. So, Mr. Previn, I assume you were one of those. So why don't you go ahead and get us started?
You want to call me up on my item, sir? It's
yes, please. Yes.
CD2, and I think that people who are here on lien should hear my comment. To exclude them from the presentation seems wrong, because one of the things that I often have drawn to your attention and to
you can stop this time. You can stop this time. No one is being excluded from anything.
No, they've been asked to leave the room, and
no,
now is
they're not being asked to leave the room. I'm giving them the opportunity. I'm not going to engage you in a dialogue except to say that what you're saying is not true. So go right ahead.
Invited them to go talk with Charles, who is in another room. I was there earlier, and that is another room. It is not this room. You are the council members. You're not a quorum, and this is not really a hearing. But the problem I've been finding, sir, and I think we are on the same page with respect to bringing people down to City Hall, is they can't connect with their council members easily to point out that they live in the residence, should not be and cannot be liened. And some of them are getting lost in the information gap, because even when they go from here, you'll give some speeches later to go down and talk to your council member. The council member is understandably busy squeezing its constituents in other ways, so they're not available to help. And then the constituent is forced to come forward with a check for sometimes a couple $1,000s in a homeless crisis. So that said, let's move on to the other items on the agenda. I don't want to waste all my time on that. The county, this is a matter involving trip and fall in January 2014. That's item number 2. It's in Bonin's district, so we take note. The other item that I noted was an LAPD incident, item number 1, involving members of the LAPD. Just for the record, for benchmarking, the county has a $14.5 million settlement that would blanch any resident's mustache on their agenda for tomorrow. And I'm in court tomorrow pointing out that they spent tens of millions of dollars fighting terrible cases where extreme tasering facts were at issue. And I don't know what was at issue in this one because you don't disclose it. I will try to get to that later. And then finally, you've got the payoff to Mr. Weezar's civic community down here where we're going to be getting a public-private partnership together. There's up to $32 million to get the initial development costs rolling, and a portion of that's going to be chewed up by Loeb & Loeb, holding down the local fort, and a firm from Europe that is expert at putting together private and public groups where the private entity then can lean on and charge parking and all sorts of stuff later in exchange for taking care of the entire construction of the city property that will be managed and lived in by you guys. So thank you.
All right.
But I still have general comment later, right?
Yeah. Mr. Spindler, I don't have you on my list, but I assume you're here to speak. Come on up.
Yeah, actually, my puppet here. So. Okay, go ahead. Remember what we talked about.
Okay, thank you so much. So, my friend Mr. Spinner saw you two bastards on that meeting Friday afternoon. Welcome back to City fucking Hall. Now we note that we do not have a quorum. We have police officers watching this meeting trying to set Mr. Spinner up on some other phony shit. So let's be clear, there is no quorum.
Stick to the agenda items or you'll be disrupting the meeting.
We are not disrupting the meeting. We're trying to help you stay out of jail. Now, we go to item 6 through the liens. 1A, we do not support 1A and 1B. Mr. Cedillo, a.k.a. Mr. Cedillo, a.k.a. Gil Cedillo, does not like these fucking liens. Number 6C, D, E, F are from Paul Gregorian's district. We are against any liens in the second fucking district. And you as the chair should waive every single one of these liens. 1, you have the power to do it. And 2, you live in a small house like a stupid little ass. So then we get to 6G. We ask Mr. Blumenfield to waive all penalties, not interest, just the penalties. Then we get to H. I fuck those liens, remove all of them in their entirety. Then we get to K, Mr. Peppa Pig Carets, when he comes in, say, and waive the lien. And then we have more liens, pages and pages of fucking liens. Fucking liens in the 12th district. The double dwarf, Mr. Englander, fuck him and fuck his liens. And finally, thank you to everyone who has sued the city of Los Angeles. Fuck you.
All right, are there any other speakers on multiple items? Are there any speakers on any agenda items other than the liens? Okay, seeing none, public comment on all of those items is closed for this meeting. At the request of the Commission on Revenue Generation, item number 4 will be deferred because of the unavailability of one of the speakers. So we'll be holding that in committee and rescheduling it. All right, that will take us then to our closed session items. So we'll begin. City Attorney, have a preference?
Yes, I don't have an agenda.
1 is Tagmazian, 2. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to call this meeting back to order in open session now. We will proceed next to item number 5.
Item number 5 is the City Attorney report relative to a proposed legal services agreement for outside counsel in connection with the development of the Los Angeles Street Civic Building project.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Deputy City Attorney Ed Young.
Just give us a brief overview of this, please.
Basically, our office is recommending the retention of law firms of Ashers LLP and Loeb & Loeb as a joint team to represent the city on the Los Angeles Street Civic Building project.
Okay. How about if you tell us a little bit about the procurement process for this?
Sure. Basically, we put out an RFP and we received response from 14 teams 14 proposals, and we narrowed it down to a handful to interview, and we determined that Ashurst Loeb and Loeb is best suited for this project.
Okay. Mr. Blumenfield.
So the cost of legal services with regard to this project is relatively small. But right out of the gate, we have a cost overrun of 50%. Is that right? And is that just a blip, or does it indicate a bigger issue with respect to the project budget?
What happened was, before we issued the RFP, before the selection process, BOE just estimated that it might be about $1 million, and that's what was in the budget. But that was without the benefit of having interviewed all the firms, receiving the proposals. So that slight adjustment is basically based on our better knowledge about what the firms are proposing.
Okay, because 50% is more than a slight adjustment. I mean, that's a 50%.
Right, and we apologize for that because it was the $1 million amount was put in there by BOE without having gone through our process and without having consulted.
So it was it's not a bigger issue. That is what it is. It's going to be. It's not going to be creeping up.
It's not.
And it was in line with all the other.
It's in line with all the proposals that we received. Yes.
I guess put another way, this isn't, we're not hiring somebody to do an environmental review or something that, we would normally, where there's a lot of lawyers who can do this work. This is something that we've rarely done, that most municipal governments have rarely done. It takes a highly specialized firm to do, and until we get the responses back, we don't really know what the market is for those sorts of legal services. So, that seems to be what happened here. Okay, and the firm that's being included in this has substantial amount, excuse me, take the conversation outside if you're going to talk. The firm that's involved here has a substantial amount of experience in handling P3 negotiations.
They do. They are experts in the field.
Okay. And I think you said in the report that there have been over 100 different P3s that this lawyer has been involved with himself.
Correct.
Do you know in how many of those approximately he was representing the government entity?
I don't have that percentage breakdown,
Okay.
but I'm sure quite a bit of them.
On either side, it's valuable experience, certainly to have. So, okay. I have no issues with this, Mr. Blumenfield.
I'm okay.
Okay. Then, without objection, it will be the recommendation of Mr. Blumenfield and myself to advance this to council. Thank you.
Thank you.
To approve the recommendation. All right. I guess item number 3, I was going to propose as a consent item, and Mr. Kretz wants to add on to that. When he gets here, we can do that. But Mr. Blumenfield, did you have any questions or concerns about item number 3?
I was okay with 3.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and, on the recommendation of Mr. Blumenfield and myself, advance item number 3 to council as well.
Mr. Chair, for the record, Richard Williams, City Clerk's Office, that item is scheduled for council tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Okay, very good. Okay. So, folks, I apologize. Mr. Kretz is still just a few minutes away, so we're going to take a brief recess until he arrives. Should be, within 10 minutes. So, if you'd like to go ahead and just relax, we'll be back in session in a few minutes. All right, we're going to go ahead and resume this meeting now of the Budget and Finance Committee, and Mr. Kretz is here. We have a quorum of the committee, so we will be ready to take up item number 6.
Item number 6 is for hearing protest appeals or objections to Building and Safety Department report and confirmation of lien for nuisance abatement costs and/or for noncompliance with code violations, annual inspection costs pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code or Los Angeles Administrative Code for the following properties. I will not list the properties.
All right, so why don't we start this meeting, or this matter, by going ahead and seeing if there are any recommendations for changes to the recommendations on the part of the department.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Charles Kalibala. I'm a senior accountant from the Department of Building and Safety. I'm here to represent the department on item number 6. This Inspector Mark Rood is also here to represent the department. The department originally submitted a recommendation to the city clerk where the department requested a receive and file on the basis that the following liens have been paid. Item number 6D, D like David, 6E, E like Edward, 6F like Frank, 6R like Rest, 6T.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second, please. R?
Yeah, R
Okay.
like Rest, 6T like Tom, and 6AA. These liens should be received and filed because they've been paid in full. Furthermore, the department requests that the city receive and file item number AC, 6AC, due to ownership change due to a death of the property owner. Furthermore, we've gone ahead.
I'm sorry, that was Alpha Charles, AC?
Yeah, AC, Alpha Charles, yes.
Okay.
Furthermore, the department we've gone ahead and talked to some of the property owners. You'll hear from them a little further as well. So the department requests a 2-week continuation for the following properties. Item number 6I, the property owner claims owner occupancy. We have to get that proven first. Then on item number 6K, like Karen, there's also some protests that the inspectors want to take a closer look at. Item number 6P, like Paul, we also need to take a closer look at that one. Item 6Q, like Queen. Item 6S, like Sam. Item 6V, like Victor. Item 6Y, like Yes. Item 6Z, like Zebra. And 6AD. The department wants to take a closer look at this, so a continuation of about 2 to 4 weeks would be in order.
Okay.
The
Anything else?
rest will be confirmed.
All right. Okay, then, so if you heard your matter referred to as one where Building and Safety is recommending that it be received and filed, that means if we agree with that recommendation, it will end here. There won't be any further action. On those that were mentioned where they want to look into it more, on those sorts of matters, what we typically recommend in this committee is that it advance to the City Council, but it will be delayed for some number of weeks to give you an opportunity to provide whatever documentation Building and Safety needs in order to verify what you've said. It's also, we strongly recommend that you have a conversation with the City Council member for the property address where the property is located so that they can assist you further with regard to the matter before it comes back to Council. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and hear now from the members of the public who are here. And the first speaker I have is Felicia Price. Ms. Price? And if you could just come on up and tell us which item you're here on and what the street address. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's item 6, S as in Sam.
S as in Sam. So just to make sure, that's 6621 South Hoover Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you already had a chance to talk with Building and Safety, it sounds like, and they want some additional time to evaluate some of the things that you said, but feel free to explain whatever you'd like to explain to us as well.
Okay. Back in 2016, there were some squatters on the property, and the squatters, they went to Building and Safety and said, of course, that our living situation is so terrible and you need to find these people. So they had actually made a makeshift cardboard box onto the house, and that's what they wanted me to make their living arrangements better. So I paid the original fine October 25th, 2016, and then after that, the squatters, the cardboard boxes, and everything else was removed off of the property. The house that's on the property was subsequently boarded by a professional contractor, and the house has been gated off since. Okay. I went back to Building and Safety, and I spoke to my inspector, Mr. Swartz, and he was supposed to go out and re-inspect the property. Now, 2 years later, I get a notice saying I was not in compliance.
Okay. Okay. So your council member is Council Member Harris Dawson?
I don't live in that area.
Okay. Yeah, CD8. So that's Council Member Marquise Harris Dawson.
Okay.
And the recommendation from Building and Safety is to give this one some additional time so that you want to review this file further.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would suggest that before it comes back to council, you should have a talk with Councilmember Harris Dawson's staff as well, so that they can advocate on your behalf if they feel that that's appropriate to do. So I can give you their phone number if you'd like. Their office is on the 4th floor of this building. So if you want to stop in before you go, you could. Or you can call 213-473-7008.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so members, are there any questions? If there are none, then the recommendation would be to advance this to council without recommendation and to set it for hearing in sufficient time so that Building and Safety has the time to conduct further review. And then you'll be notified. Actually, does Building and Safety provide notification?
Yeah. What we do, we give her the council file. She can follow it up on the website, on the city clerk website. So
Okay.
we give her that information as well.
Trust me on this. You really should talk to your council member so that your council member can flag this and make sure that if you need to go to council, they can let you know. That's the best way to do it, because it's hard to wend your way through our computer system sometimes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Without objection, then, that will be the action of the committee. Okay. Our next speaker is Hugo Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, welcome.
Thank you.
Which item are you speaking on, sir?
6I.
6I, okay. And that's 21100 West Sherman Way?
Yes.
Okay. So again, this one similarly was one that Building and Safety had requested additional time on to review the things that you had raised with them, but feel free to go ahead and take this time to speak to us as well.
First, we rent the whole block, and we have renters. So one of those is the one that this money is for. At the beginning, I needed to know who I needed to collect the money from. So I went to the Van Nuys office to find out, and they sent me to Figueroa, that they were going to give me a breakdown for this $790. I came over here, and they said that they couldn't give me a breakdown for this money. What they gave me was a list of every money that supposedly that property owes since 1994. but I couldn't get the breakdown for this. They sent me to another building. I went right there, and they said that I had to go back to Van Nuys. So I went to Van Nuys, and they told me that when I came to this place right here, they were going to give me a breakdown. And I spoke with, I forgot your name, and he said that when I go to make the payment to Figueroa, they're going to give me the breakdown. So I have the payment here.
Oh, you have the payment ready to make?
Yeah, I have the payment, but I need something because when I went right there, according to this paperwork, it says Kimmy's Auto Repair is the one that owes the money. So I said, I'm bringing the payment. They gave me this, and they said all that he owes is $571.13. And I told him, can you give me a breakdown for that? They said yes. And they gave me these things right here, and I told him, but 3 months ago I came and I make a payment. So they went and spoke with some manager, and they said, oh, you know what, everything is paid. Doesn't owe anything. I have this paper right here that they gave me, but still, this person owes $4,790.
Okay. And you're prepared to pay that and then seek collection from the
Yeah, but I need something that shows that I'm paying it, because otherwise it's going to happen like this, that they receive the money and then in the system it doesn't show anything.
Right, I see. Okay. Mr. Blumenfield?
You're in my district, so I want to make sure that we help you out here and work with you, so you can meet with my staff who's here as well, and we'll work with Charles in the department to make sure that we get this straight away for you. Because, but as I understand it, and maybe Charles, you can answer this, it seems like you've got the paper, you just need to get the receipts.
And which invoice is the one that I'm paying out of all this, like supposedly that the property owes?
Charles, is there?
He owes $4,790.66. He's not the property owner. He's, I think, one of the tenants or one of the managers. So I told him to give that information to the property owner. But that $4,790 consists of 3 invoices, one for $2,210, another one for $2,537, another one title report for $42. So there are 3 invoices outstanding. I explained it to him briefly.
Do you have the 3 invoices? It sounds like he doesn't have those 3 invoices.
I told him to go to the
There's
department.
There's a bunch of invoices, but I don't know which is the one, and that's all I need to know. So in the future, they don't charge me again.
Right here. Can you circle the ones that he needs?
Yeah. Yeah, 3 invoices.
Okay. Well, you can.
Does that provide you enough? And sir, does that provide you the information that you need?
So, if you don't mind, I'm going ahead and speaking with Mr. Blumenfield's staff about this, because...
So my staff, John Popach over there, will work with you.
Okay.
And we'll work to try to help you get the information that you need.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Johnny Shoehead.
Yes, John.
Come on up, sir.
May I sit down?
Yes, please. And which property is yours, sir?
6K.
6K.
Yes.
8949 West Venice.
Yes.
In Mr. Kretz's district. Okay. So, again, Building and Safety has asked for additional time to research your issue, but if you'd like to give a quick overview, that'd be fine too.
Yeah. I'm in auto repair business, but a few years ago I had a gentleman there, and they required a permit for my spray booth. And I showed him the permit, and he said it's not sufficient. Then I got a notice. I came here to a hearing, and I submitted all the permits and the plans and permits that was submitted to the city by the manufacturer. And they said everything's okay and everything's in order. And now I got a notice that I have to comply and have to pay penalty and interest. I came here today and I showed the gentleman the permits and all the plans. And I was told to make a copy of everything and submit it to him through email, and he will review it. It's no problem.
Right. Well, if you could talk to my staff person also, Jim Bickhart over there on the left, we'll try our best to help you out.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
And so what we'll do, sir, is we'll go ahead and advance this to council without making a recommendation for or against. And then in the interim, between now and the time it appears in council, you'll have an opportunity to provide the documentation to Building and Safety and to speak with Mr. Bickhart, and then if a motion is necessary at the time of trial to change the recommendation, that not at the time of trial, at the time of the council meeting, we'll be able to do that. You'll have time in order to do that before it gets back.
So I don't have to make any payments right now?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to, of course, and that would probably resolve the whole thing, but if there's other things that you want to pursue, then...
No, everything is ready, everything is in order, so all I have to do, make a copy and submit it through email to the gentleman.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
very much.
Without
Appreciate
objection,
your time.
then that will be the action of the committee. All right, our next speaker is...
Thank you, John.
Thank you, sir. Is Ophelia Barajas? Good afternoon. And which property is this? Which item?
14541 Dyer Street.
It's item 6Q,
Q?
as in Queen.
Okay, right. Okay, 14541 West Dyer Street. Okay. Please feel free to have a seat. So this is also one of the matters that Building and Safety requested additional time to consider what you told them.
Yes.
You're free to talk to us now about it or not. It's up to you. I would recommend that you speak to Councilmember Rodriguez before this advances further to council. She represents the property address, but feel free to speak to us if you'd like as well. Oh, is this the one where the owner of the property is living in it?
Yes.
Okay, then all you really need to do is prove that to Building and Safety, right? So they just need documentation to show that, in fact, you are living in the property and that you own it. So speak further with them, and if I can make the recommendation, you might want to call Ms. Rodriguez's staff or visit with her staff today. She's on the 4th floor.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
my mom just needs time to pay for whatever they're asking for.
You may not have to. If you provide the documentation, you may not have to at all. So you need to talk with them and Ms. Rodriguez about it.
Okay.
Okay?
So where floor is she? I'm sorry.
4th floor,
Okay.
Monica Rodriguez.
Monica Rodriguez.
Yeah. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, so if there's no objection, then it'll be the action of the committee to advance this without recommendation. Okay, our next speaker is Randall Wild. Good afternoon, sir.
It's item CZ.
Z as in zoo. Okay, that's 17500 West Tuba Street.
Correct.
And Building and Safety requested additional time for this. I didn't make a note of what the issue was, but...
It is my residence. I'm not so much disputing the violation, but looking for financial relief.
Okay, and it is your residence and you're living there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what they're asking for is just documentation of the fact that it's owner occupied.
He did help me out with that paper.
Okay, so you're free to speak, but we can just advance it to council without a recommendation, and then if you can dispose of it with Building and Safety before it gets to council, it'll be done.
All right. Do you suggest I go to Englander's office?
I do.
Okay.
I do. He doesn't. Oh, yes, his staff is here in the back, right in the very back row there.
Okay. Thank
So
you very
can
much.
deal with it right now, okay? Thank you very much, sir. So if there's no objection, it'll be the action of the committee to advance item Z without recommendation. Our next speaker is Ryan Woodward. Good afternoon, Mr. Woodward.
Good afternoon.
Which item is this? Or which address?
6Y. 6Y.
Y? Okay.
My wife.
12314 West Hammock Street.
Yep.
Okay?
So we purchased an existing owner-occupied residence, and we purchased it as an owner-occupied residence back in 2015. And our neighbor went through renovations, and at that time, we received a complaint about high hedges in the front. This was actually appraised without clouded title, that sort of thing. It was actually featured as one of the or features or upgrades to the property when we purchased it. So we received a fine for $2,600, something like that, to cut our front hedges down. However, the entire neighborhood, this is the Delray pocket between Sentinel and Englewood, is most homes have these high hedges in the front because there's freeways, the 90 freeway is running right through there. So this provides protection against, there's no street cleaning either, so provides protection against trash kind of blowing up the roads, provides protection from kids, whatnot, that sort of thing. So I was speaking to Mark, and he recommended we put a claim of lapse or lien processing error form and state our case, but we kind of definitely feel singled out within the entire neighborhood for this issue. And the way the house was actually built is like, if you expose the entire front, you're very exposed.
So hedge issues like this frequently create the feeling that people have that they're being treated differently than their neighbors. I know Mr. Kretz deals with this on a weekly basis. And I think Mr. Bonin's district in your neighborhood, it happens frequently as well. I think because of the uniqueness of each property and each neighborhood, it is important that you speak with Mr. Bonin's office about that to make sure that going forward, you have a plan of action for how to deal with it. So I would speak with his office before this comes back to council. And because Building and Safety has asked for more time to consider this, we would advance this without recommendation. And so it'll move forward to council, but it'll be up to your council member to take some action before it gets back to council.
Okay, so at what point in time does it go back to council? Is that after that time period that we've been granted?
Yeah.
So another 30 days?
Yes.
Essentially?
Yeah. So for all of these, I think Mr. Williams, for all of these, will say a minimum of 30 days.
Okay.
So.
And are we able to speak with his office today?
Yes, I know that he is not there today, but his staff is there today.
Okay.
So yeah, if you go down to the 4th floor, Mike Bonin.
Thank you very
Okay?
much.
All right. Thank you very much. Without objection, then it'll be the action of the committee to advance this without recommendation. Okay. Our next speaker is Ursula Westmoreland.
My husband.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And which item is this?
14909 Cobalt Street, Sylmar.
6P.
6P.
6P. Okay. Okay. So that is also in Monica Rodriguez's district, in the 7th district. And what was the situation with this one?
Yeah, on this, again, we talked to the property owners. They claim the property is owner-occupied.
Owner-occupied.
They
Okay.
claim
Okay.
they still need to give us a proof
that
it is, then we can take it off the
Very good. Okay. So
Yes,
Feel free to go ahead.
back in '92, when we bought the home, we were in the market for looking for a home with a guest house. Not literally a garage, a guest house, well, that was legal. Then we find out about a year and a half ago that our certificate of occupancy, which I have here, which was in on the purchase, we had no idea that there was a miscue with this somewhere along the line. So I went to the Department of Building and Safety in Van Nuys to talk to Mike Fuller about it. They said that long ago is kind of rough. So I called everybody. I went as far as to talk to the DOJ in Washington, the FBI. I'm trying to find out who sold us this guest house. And it's all documented and legal. Come to find out it's not. But we've took steps and spent our 401k and everything to get the blueprints and all the permits that we're going to need to make this unit legal. Because it's just a nice unit. I mean, it was perfect when we bought it. It was supposed to be for her stepfather, who recently passed. But so we've been down and we got everything. We spent thousands. We're close to completing everything we need. Now it's just a few little construction things that we have to do. Widen one door and it was a garage, but there was never a garage, because where the garage door is, there's property there with a house, and the street is way up the way.
Okay.
So we weren't thinking of a garage at all when we bought it, because we can prove that it was a backup. What our problem is, we need a little more time.
Okay.
I'm disabled now, and I'm not at work, and after spending all this money for blueprints and permits, I get the bill for a lien. I want to know if we can freeze the lien or waive it, so I can get this here project completed, so I can comply with the laws.
Okay, great. Thank you. And it sounds like a long and complicated and
It really
tortured
is.
issue. So what Building and Safety is requesting, and what we're going to recommend is that at least for 30 days, this won't be heard in council. So from today, you'll have at least 30 days before it gets heard by council. It's important that you speak, in addition to Building and Safety, to your council office.
Okay.
So I would go down to the fourth floor today,
Monica?
if you can, speak to Monica Rodriguez's office.
And-
And it may be that if their staff, if she wants to make that recommendation, that more time, it could be extended out further. There could be other resolutions of this that might be appropriate for your unique situation, but it takes somebody to really dig into that with you
Right.
as your advocate, and that would be her staff that would best do that.
Okay.
Because it was suggested that sue the real estate company or the.
Well,
I can't give you any legal advice or
Yeah,
any
only a
suggestions
lawyer
like
can
that,
do
but for the city process, you should certainly talk to your council office.
Okay.
So
Okay.
before you leave today, you might want to just stop off at the fourth floor and drop in her office and see if somebody can help you down there.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and then in the meantime, we'll go ahead and advance this without a recommendation, yes or no,
Okay.
and then it won't be heard in council for at least 30 days from today.
Okay. And then we can worry about the penalties. They keep going up,
Yeah,
and we're trying to do two things at once, is get all the paperwork to make it legal.
It sounds like you've done a lot.
Yeah, a
So
whole
I think
lot.
you need to just sit down with somebody who can go over that with you from her office.
Okay.
And then they can make some recommendations to you about what the appropriate resolutions might be.
Thank you so much.
Okay? All right. It's a
And
pleasure.
Do we talk to them again?
No.
Well, if they requested documentation for you, they should tell you exactly what it is that they want you to provide them. Exactly.
Thank you so much.
And it should be crystal clear, it should be crystal clear to them before they leave here exactly what you still need from them. And then in addition to that, you should, again, I can't say it often enough, you should speak to your council office's staff so that they can follow up on your behalf.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you. I've
Very
seen all
good.
you guys on TV. It's nice to see you in person.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm glad to have you down here. Thank you. Hopefully, this we can get resolved soon. All right, so without objection, that will be the action of the committee. Our next speaker is Emil Vasserman. Come on up, sir. And what's the property, sir?
523 Neva Place.
This is item 6A as in apple, D as in David.
AD, okay. Okay, in Councilmember Weezar's district. That's 523 North Neva Place, okay. And so Building and Safety recommended that this be advanced to council without recommendation, that you have at least 30 days to be able to provide them with further information. Was this one of the owner-occupied issues, or?
Yes, sir. It was the owner occupied.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you've already had a chance to discuss that with them and what you need to provide them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The only thing I was going to say is I do recognize the Building and Safety Authority and original inspection fee I did pay, sir. But I just feel something happened with the process where I was given failure to comply. It was kind of took place like 5 months after the due date. So I feel I feel maybe some error happened in the process where.
Okay, and you have proof that you made the payment?
Original inspection I do have. I did pay, but it took 5 months from the due date, from compliance date, for them to inform me that I failed to comply with the search. So, but
I see.
So
Okay.
that's basically it. And they never gave me the reinspection report based on what I failed to comply. I failed to comply some of the parts, or I failed to comply on all the parts.
Okay.
But basically, but like you indicated, sir, I need to work. I'm waiting to talk to the building and safety.
Okay.
So it's owner-occupied property right now, and I hope will you give instructions to the?
Yes, so what you'll need to do is provide them with documentation demonstrating to them, proving to them that it's owner-occupied.
Okay.
Okay, that's the most important part of this. Then in addition to that, you need to, I would strongly recommend that you speak to Councilmember Jose Huizar's staff.
Uh-huh.
He's your council member. He's located on the 4th floor. We're all on the 4th floor. So if you go down there today, you can talk to his staff and explain the situation and get somebody from his office to look through this and maybe make a recommendation to the council when it comes back to council. Okay?
Will I get a little postponement, right?
Yes. So we won't do anything today. We'll advance it to the full council, and it won't be heard by the council until at least 30 days from now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay? All right. So without objection, that will be the action of the committee. Are there any other speakers here who wish to be heard on the lien items? Okay. Are there any other recommendations that Building and Safety wanted to make other than what we've already made?
No, just to summarize briefly, that Department of Building and Safety recommends that the following items be received and filed because they've been paid.
Actually, if you don't mind, Charles, I'm going to ask Mr. Williams to do that. You have good notes of this?
Yes.
Okay. Just to make sure that our record matches yours, if you don't mind. So if you could go ahead with the recommendations, Mr. Williams?
Sure. On item 6A, the committee would recommend that lien be approved. On item 6B, the committee would recommend that lien be approved. Item 6C, as in cat, the committee would recommend that lien be approved. Item D, as in David, receive and file the matter inasmuch as it has been paid. Item E, as in Edward, receive and file the lien inasmuch as the lien has been paid. Item F, as in Frank, receive and file the matter inasmuch as the lien has been paid. Item G, as in George, approve the lien. Item H, as in Henry, approve the lien. Item I, as in ice cream, committee would submit without recommendation for 30 days. Item J, as in John, the lien approved. Item K, as in King, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item L, as in Larry, lien approved. Item M, as in Mary, lien approved. Item N, as in Nancy, lien approved. Item O, as in Oscar, lien approved. Item P, as in Paul, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item Q, as in Queen, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item R, as in Robert, receive and file inasmuch as the lien has been paid. Item S, as in Sam, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item T, as in Tom, receive and file inasmuch as the lien has been paid. Item U, as in Uncle, approve the lien. Item V, as in Victor, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item W, as in William, lien approved. Item X, as in X-ray, lien approved. Item Y, as in yellow, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item Z, as in zebra, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days. Item AA, receive and file inasmuch as the lien has been paid. Item AB, lien approved. Item AC, as in Charles, receive and file, change in owner. Item AD, as in David, submits without recommendation to council in 30 days.
All right. If there's no objection, it will be the action of the committee to approve those recommendations. Thank you, Mr. Kretz. Yeah, would you like to, and if we can reconsider number 3, for Mr. Kretz's approval as well. That was the consent item, and then number 5 was the approval of the outside counsel. Which of you'd like to add on to that as well?
Yes.
Okay, so items 3 and 5 will be approved by the committee. And Mr. Previn, I think you are our only general comment. Is there anybody else wishing to offer general public comment? Mr. Previn, come on up.
Yeah, the business with Mr. Kretz, item 3 is the helicopter item. Is that what you had in mind? Because you'd made it seem like...
Go ahead and speak.
Okay, that was confusing. So Kretz was not here, and now I guess Kretz is no longer here, so Kretz likes to leave. I wanted to share with Mr. Kretz that we disagree that it is easy to raise $25,000, and the campaign finance ordinance that you guys are going to be racing through as quickly as possible, so that the incumbents in 2017 got half of all the money that was from the public funds. Sir, you remember $44,000 that you guys got against Eric Previn, who raised not a nickel. Of all the money that was handed out in public funds, the other 49% of that money, 44 went to incumbents. The other went to Kara Tarosian, Carolyn Ramsey, the guy from Munger Tolis who challenged Koretz, and Bray Alley, the bicycle lobbyist guy. So that is not working very well, because all the rest of the candidates, 75% of the council district candidates got nothing. So don't believe Clean Money and don't believe Common Cause. They're working closely with Bonham, but they're not working for the people. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's no other business before the committee, we are adjourned.